I mean, this is probably the biggest revolution in trucking since trucks replaced trains, isn't it, I guess? Well, that's my favorite thing about Tesla. They understand the practicality of the supply chain and all this other stuff. Everybody else builds a car, and then they go, there it is. But, you know, they haven't made the infrastructure, they haven't done any of that. And it's great that you're not just looking at the sports car and the enthusiast, but for other aspects of the transportation world as well. And this is really groundbreaking. It's very exciting.
So Jay, not only are you going to get the chance to see the low roof semi, but you're going to get a chance to tow it.
All right, let's do it. Oh, this trailer?
Yeah. So you just keep going, and then there we go. Now give it a little throttle.
I don't even feel like I'm pulling anything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You know, we're pushing a good load back there, 60, 70,000 pounds gross vehicle weight, and you're not feeling it.
We gotta make Albuquerque by morning.
As you can see, Jay Leno is absolutely loving the Tesla Semi, and in this video he interviews the chief engineer Dan Priestley as well as the chief designer Franz van Holzhausen. We learn about why things were designed the way they were, why truck drivers are going to love this product, and we even get some clues as to when volume production might begin. Enjoy.
Dan Priestley. Dan, you're in charge of the semi-truck program, is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Well, where do we start? Let's start, I know what my Tesla weighs. What is this weigh?
I mean, we started out obviously designing the early cars like the Roadster, Model S.
Right.
And you might ask, well, why did we get into heavy trucking? And it all comes down to the mission. So when we launched our factory in Nevada, our gigafactory that supports all of the powertrains that get built for our cars in Fremont, our co-founder and CTO at the time, JB Straubel, said, it doesn't make any sense that we should be shipping all of these parts for electric cars on diesel trucks. We should do electric trucks.
Yes, doing electric semi-trucks is extremely important when thinking about Tesla's mission statement, because even though semi-trucks only make up 1% of the vehicles on the road, they make up 18% of the emissions.
Yeah, in the first 3 years of operation, you're looking at nearly $200,000 in fuel savings. So that's massive for a fleet, particularly when you look at ones that have thousands of trucks. So that's what really attracts a lot of our customers, is the economics of the total cost of ownership.
Sure, and that's just fuel. That's not even counting oil, spark plugs.
Yeah, exhaust fluid, maintenance, everything else that goes into it.
And truckers are pretty conservative. They're like Harley riders. They're pretty conservative. You know, remember the first truck that came out that had that, it looked like Buck Rogers' helmet, kind of aerodynamic over the top of truckers thought, that's the ugliest damn thing. You go to truck stops and they're making fun of it, but they saved like 15% on fuel. And suddenly everybody had to have it.
Yeah, but as long as we give them the tool to do their job,
right,
then they come on board real fast. So that means giving them adequate power, that means making it safe, a clean, nice environment, good in-cab experience. By doing all those things, we get a lot of drivers, even the ones that are initially skeptical, they get on board really quickly.
Yes, and Tesla's pilot fleet operator, Pepsi, has given us great reports saying that their drivers like the product. Here's my source from a CNBC clip.
Although Pepsi wouldn't allow us to interview the drivers, O'Connell says feedback has been positive.
They like not needing to fuel the vehicles, right? They come in, plug them in, and can leave them, and they like the overall performance.
Tesla doesn't make products that people don't like. There's a reason that they don't do any advertising. It's because their products are always so good that they just sell themselves. And here's Franz talking about how they figured out what drivers like.
And we also talked to a lot of truck drivers, and you know, this is their office.
Right.
They spend an inordinate amount of time in the truck. So we wanted to make a space that was really comfortable for them, because that's where they're working.
Is designing a truck totally different than designing a car? I mean, obviously it is, but I mean, are there other factors that you have to think about in a truck that you wouldn't have to think about in a Model S?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. I mean, like I said, the drivers, you know, don't necessarily own the truck. It's their business. It's where they work. So you wanted to create an environment for them to be comfortable in what they work, be safe. You know, there's not a lot of regulations on the safety side for trucks, first of all. So we were able to look at how do we make the truck safer, and that's just something that we do with all of our Teslas.
There's probably not a lot of safety regulations for trucks, because when a truck driver gets in an accident, it's more often the other people that are injured. But in 2019, there was actually 849 truck driver deaths. That makes being a truck driver one of the most dangerous occupations behind fishing and hunting workers, loggers, roofers, construction workers. But Tesla prioritizes safety, and it's good to see that they are doing everything that they can to provide a safe workspace for the truck drivers.
Now, what is the coefficient of drag on something like my Tesla, I believe, is what, 0.25?
No, it's less than that.
0.20 maybe.
0.22, 0.21.
0.22, okay. what would it be? Because you've got just this massive area, and it's almost like a wall going down the. What would this be?
This one is.
We're around 0.4.
0.4. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if
Now
you equate
compared-
that to a normal truck,
Yeah.
What would that be?
They're up in like the 0.8, 0.9. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're significantly more aerodynamic.
You're almost twice as aerodynamic as the.
but you look at them and it's
Yeah.
like pushing a barn wall, you know,
Right.
like they're just flat in the front, flat windshield.
Well, it's almost like cars from the 20s. When people bought a prestige car, this pushes the wind out of the way.
Exactly.
Well, that's what they did. You
Yeah.
know, when the Chrysler Airflow came out, and look, and people go, oh, but it doesn't look imposing. It's not, you know, they wanted something that, laughs at the wind, you know, that kind of attitude, yeah.
We were really inspired by the high-speed trains.
Yeah.
If you've been to Japan, the Shinkansen, where you know this really kind of super aerodynamic train, just you know for obviously efficiency at high speeds.
Man, Franz is such a good designer. He recently revamped the Model 3, and just by increasing the aerodynamics on the Model 3, he was able to increase the range by 16%. And you guys are going to see as this video goes on the extremely creative ideas that Franz has to increase the performance of the Semi, all while making it more comfortable for the driver. Let's watch.
I see
Yeah.
that. Here. So, now we used to call these suicide doors.
Right.
And manufacturers hate that. It's a terrible name.
Hopefully it's
But
not a suicide
It
door.
is. You know, I've got my old 8-liter Bentley. One day I'm going down the road, my door's open a little bit. I'm like, it's just pulling the truck. It's just pulling the door away from me. I'm like, I'm stepping on the brake, trying to slow down. I mean, I used to think these were illegal.
Well, one of the reasons we went to this store, A, was easier for the truckers to get in and out of. But if you look at actually the form of the truck and the way that the cabin actually starts to pull in, putting the hinge on the front was just going to make it really hard. We would have to square up the truck and then we wouldn't get this really teardrop shape in the front. So the hinges in the back where it's relatively flat.
Isn't that amazing? Franz is so dedicated to optimizing performance that he questions every little thing, even where the hinge goes on the door. It's unconventional, but he decided to put it on the right because he concluded that it would lead to better aerodynamics on the entire product. And as we're going to see later, it actually also led to more cabin space and a higher roof for the driver.
And it's really important to have that holistic thinking when we design everything from the ground up. But part of what we were able to do and make that simple is we actually carried over a lot of parts from our other platforms. So just like in your Plaid, we have carbon wrapped rotors, an invention actually started initially with the thoughts on Semi. We're carrying over our drive inverter from the upcoming Cybertruck. So we're really trying to take advantage of our high volume, our reliability testing, and everything that we do across the rest of the company and bring into here where it's appropriate.
Have you ever heard an engineer talk like that? Dan is bringing up other parts that Tesla uses in different sections of the company and how they design the Semi to include those parts to increase simplicity. This is the culture that has made Tesla so successful. Do you notice how both the designer and engineer are there talking to Jay? Not just one or the other. Elon is incessant that the designers and engineers should be glued at the hip when creating a product because a product is supposed to be designed to be easily manufactured. So why wouldn't the engineers and designers be spending a lot of time together? At other companies, it's kind of a throw it over the fence mentality. The designers design something, they throw it over the fence, and then the engineers have to figure out how to make it. But Elon says that doesn't make any sense. And the fact that Dan knows as much as he does about the Tesla Semi and all of its designing shows that him and Franz have probably been spending a lot of time together.
Now, does this have an adjustable regen? Like if I'm going down a hill, can I crank it up a little more to put more power back in, or is it all automatic?
So it's all automatic. There's no separate control. It's just like in your car where you back off on the accelerator pedal, and that is how you dial in the exact amount of regen you want. What we've really tried to do is bring a high amount of regen capability so we can descend really big and long grades without ever having to touch the brakes. And diesel trucks do this with their Jake, but the difference here is we're actually able to recapture that energy and extend the range of the truck.
Aerodynamics, regenerative braking, battery technology. This is how Tesla has amassed almost a 200-mile lead in range over their number 2 competitor when it comes to electric semi-trucks. They are years ahead of everybody else.
Look, the driver's sitting almost right over the front wheel, which is really different than a normal truck where you have this big motor in front of you. And we were going to be this really bullet shape, which is radically different. So we didn't want to put a big grill in the front. There's no need for it.
Right.
We looked at, truckers have a tendency to kind of hit the front corner of their truck every once in a while.
Right.
And so we wanted to make that easily repairable. So, little things like that.
You can see how much research Hans has done on truck drivers. The front of the Tesla Semi is designed to be easily repairable. And did you know that designers and engineers at Tesla often also work closely with the repairmen at the Tesla repair shops, because what happens is when the repair people fix a Tesla, they give the data to the engineers and the designers, because the designers want to make it so that anytime a Tesla is in a crash, it is as cheap and fast to repair as possible. And this is why Tesla Insurance can offer such good premiums, because they have this full data loop going from the repair centers all the way back to the designers, so that Tesla vehicles are always quick and easy to repair.
Is this lower to the ground than the traditional? I mean, I can put my foot right here as opposed to normally. You know what I mean? It seems like I realize this is just an illusion because it's just a rubber piece. But it seems much lower to the ground than a traditional truck. Is that my imagination?
I think the steps are, we wanted to put the steps so that it was easy to get into the truck. The floor of the truck is basically the same height as a normal truck. And, like I said, getting in and out, climbing in and out of this thing all day long, we just tried to make that as easy and efficient as possible.
Okay. Yeah. From a ground clearance perspective, we're very comparable to other trucks, but we did lower the steps, and we spent a lot of time making it more like climbing stairs than a ladder, because the number one cost for worker compensation in trucking is falling off the truck, whether it's in the cab or it's on the back deck.
Right.
And so we really wanted to make a safe experience. I mean, because drivers do this many, many times a day. We wanted to make it as safe an experience as possible getting in and out of the truck.
This is why Tesla has the best brand loyalty in the industry. They do extensive research on the market they're penetrating, and they talk to the drivers, and then they make the product. And when a customer switches from Tesla and buys a different vehicle, the number one choice is Rivian. And that's because Rivian sells an electric truck, something Tesla does not sell yet. So you can see this crazy customer loyalty to Tesla. And I mean, you can see why they think of everything.
Now, how about price? I know you haven't released the price yet. Is it comparable? Is it way cheaper? Is it more expensive?
Yeah, it's really comparable to what a heavy truck would cost, particularly other electric offerings. We haven't released a price yet, but we're really looking at the total cost of ownership. And because our truck is so efficient, you really want to be putting it out on the road a lot, because that's how you're going to get your savings. So by introducing a truck at a very competitive price and then having lower operating costs, it's a big win for fleets and operators.
And the government is offering a $45,000 tax credit for electric semi-trucks. Tesla, in designing the Semi, is using parts from other products that they already make in-house. Plus, the operators are going to save money on fuel costs and maintenance, so these semi-trucks will become affordable.
So would you charge in the middle of the day, or is 500 miles pretty much an 8-hour day?
Yeah, so it really depends on what you're doing with it, and it's designed to work in all kinds of different operations. So for some folks, that's definitely enough range for the day. They go out, they can run up to 11 hours of drive time in a day. In California, we've got lower speed limits, and if you're running lightweight, you got plenty of energy on board.
Right.
But if you're out and you're running really fast, if you've got a heavy load, or you're tackling a bunch of hills and you're consuming more energy, then we've brought in a lot of fast charge capability, so you can recover about 70% in 30 minutes.
Wow, just like a regular Tesla.
Exactly. So the idea here is that if you're a driver, you can go use the first part of the battery during the first part of your day. You take your mandatory 30-minute break, you recharge fast, and then you can finish out your day before getting back home to your charge spot.
How many trucks have you made so far?
Yes, we've made a few dozen, so that we're up in the maybe 60, 70 range, and
wow.
we're cranking them out just at pilot volumes. We're collecting data, we're getting a lot of really great driver feedback, and then we're going to take that time to do a bunch of improvements and bring that into a high volume and really try to be a major player in the market.
Cool.
Tesla is making sure this product is absolutely perfect before they go into volume production. Tesla might be late on products sometimes, but they always deliver the best. Tesla is currently spending $3.5 billion to upgrade their lines and to upgrade their battery production at Giga Nevada, where they will be manufacturing the Tesla Semi. Once that is done and they have the data they need to make the Semi the best possible product ever, volume production will begin to ramp, and they are expecting that to happen by the end of 2024.
Oh, very cool.
Like the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, exactly. See, that shows the age difference.
Yeah, you might recognize it
I
from...
say Kirk, you say Millennium.
Yeah.
We tend to use the right screen for more of your interactive, so you've got your map, you've got your controls for the driver, all your media, etc. And on the left is where all your readouts are, so your charge, your speed, the status of the vehicle, air pressure, etc.
And why does the cabin need to be so high? Is there a reason for that, or is it just so you can stand up in the cabin?
Well, one of the things, we had to make the cab actually have an aero fairing that goes all the way to the top of the trailer.
Of course, yeah.
So that just allowed us to have the space that you could stand up in. And like I was saying previously, you can't do that in a normal Semi. So this gives us an opportunity to look. There's 3 of us in here comfortably in this space. You could never do that in a traditional LCD semi.
Truck drivers spend a lot of time in their cabins. Sometimes they take their breaks in there. Sometimes they have to wait in there while there's docking or unloading, or sometimes they go on cross-country deliveries and they even sleep in their trucks. So truck drivers are going to absolutely love all of this space that Franz has created for them.
We've really tried to make the experience very similar to our cars and just make it as clean and easy to drive as possible.
You know, it's like driving the Empire State Building. It's amazing. It moves just like a car. But...
Yeah, well, we really wanted to make it so that we got rid of that, oh, you're in the city, you're stuck behind a slow truck.
Right.
So we wanted to give drivers a tool to keep with traffic, because we actually think that's safer and it's a time saver.
Right, not people trying to cut around you and hit the kid in the crosswalk.
Well, and they got a dive bomb in at the last minute because they don't want to be stuck behind the truck on getting on an on-ramp. But yeah, there's no shifting, so we really try to make the driver experience really smooth. And I think you'll really feel that, you know, once we get a trailer on as well.
It's amazing how electricity takes away all sense of space, weight, time. I mean, you don't feel like I could be driving any size vehicle if I...
Yeah, it really is. You don't have that jerkiness of shifting. You don't have that engine RPM. We actually look at that as a huge advantage in trucking, where you don't want drivers to get fatigued. You want them over the course of their day to be relaxed and rested. And by making a nice, calm, clean cabin experience, they're less likely to be fatigued and have incidents or accidents throughout the day.
Picture it. A self-driving semi, 2 big screens in front of you, a massive ceiling above you. It sounds nice.
And we're hopeful. I mean, the average age of drivers in the United States is over 50. And you know, we don't have many young drivers. And so we're hoping that by reducing the barrier to entry, you're not having to manage and double clutch when you're downshifting and asynchronous gears and things that come with that. By making an easier to approach vehicle, it might attract some new drivers into the field.
I'm Canadian, and from Job Bank Canada, from 2022 to 2031, they are expecting 161,000 new job openings in truck driving, while only 144,000 are expected to fill them. So hopefully this product can increase the amount of people interested in the profession, or maybe self-driving can reduce the amount of job openings that there are.
No yoke, just a steering wheel.
Yeah, I mean, the wheel cut on this is actually fantastic. So the turning radius is about the same as our Model 3 or Model Y. Yeah. It's really tight because,
is that right?
Yeah, it's really, we wanted to make a highly maneuverable vehicle, because you get into these urban situations doing deliveries where they don't give truckers that much space. Yeah. And so you want to give them every bit of maneuverability as you can. And so by not having an engine, we freed up a whole front end to give you a high degree of wheel cut and ultimate maneuverability.
Okay, so you have a Tesla Semi that's 5 times the size of a Model 3, but it can charge to 70% at the exact same speed, and it has the same turn radius. This product is going to blow the trucking industry out of the water. I mean, if you're a driver and you have to make deliveries to urban areas, if you have that kind of a turn radius, that's going to make your life 100 times easier.
Same battery pack as the Y, or just more of them?
So we use actually a lot of technology brought over from our energy division in how the battery is assembled, but it is assembled in a higher voltage. So we're running at the 800,000 volt range.
Wow.
Versus our 400 volt range in most of our cars today. But Cybertruck will also go to that higher voltage range. So Semi was really helping prove out a number of our high voltage theories early on.
It's just amazing how each Tesla product plays into one another. Dan is in charge of the Tesla Semi, but you can see he has an extensive knowledge of every other product at the company. Tesla prioritizes vertical integration, but you can also see that they're always looking for ways to use a part that works over here and also make it work over here. The less parts as a company they have to make, the less complex. When they were designing their bot actuators for the Tesla Optimus bot, they chose designs that could be used in multiple different parts of the body. It's the same solution for the Tesla Semi. What parts from other products can we use to make this? It's all about reducing complexity at Tesla, because that's what the future looks like. The future is simplistic, and this is why Tesla has industry-leading margins.
Now we'll hook up the trailer.
Oh, okay, cool. I don't even feel like I'm pulling anything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. We're pushing a good load back there, 60,000, 70,000 pounds.
It's funny, I can't see the trailer in the mirror. So
Yeah.
I don't even know if you told me, oh, we didn't hook up, we just pulled away, I would believe you.
Yeah.
It's stunning. Even in a diesel, I would feel it. You know, you'd
Churning, the engine's working.
Yeah, the engine's working.
And we dynamically adjust how much power we give you based on the load we sense.
Right.
So that way you have a nice consistent feel. We still let you know there's something back there, but we don't want you to feel like you're just a dog.
Yeah.
We give you plenty of power to get the job done.
So Tesla preserves energy in the vehicle by sensing how much weight is being carried, and they only offer as much energy as needed. And this creates a very smooth ride because whenever you're driving, however much weight you've got in the back, it always feels like it's the same amount of weight as it was before, even if it changed. Pepsi hasn't allowed any of their drivers to be personally interviewed yet, but by judging from Jay's reaction, I think the drivers are going to love this product.
And so you don't need to crank it too far. That's good. Keep rolling. You're good. We're totally fine here. Yeah. So you can actually unwind it just a little bit. You don't want to overcommit.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. Just keep rolling through here.
Boy, she's amazing. Look
Yeah.
at that.
I mean, we've got way tighter turning radius. Like, this is a straightforward maneuver.
Well, I'm amazed that this is the same turning radius as a Model Y or an S, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's about the same as Model 3 or Model Y.
Wow.
Yeah. And during that whole maneuver, you can see the trailer in your mirrors and your
Yeah.
cameras. You can really execute it by like staying where you need to.
Yeah. Boy, this is probably the biggest revolution in trucking since trucks replaced trains, isn't it? I guess.
I mean, that's what we're aiming for. We want to make a big impact. We're not looking to be a small player.
Oh, Tesla will be the biggest player. And what we're talking about in terms of ramping up the EV infrastructure in America is a once in a century type of growth, because we're talking about the North American railroads type of a new infrastructure, because the EV infrastructure will power electric vehicles for the next 100 years. And if Tesla is leading that charge and they own most of the charging stations, I mean, we're talking about a mega opportunity here.
By the way, you're totally nailing the center drive position. I know you've got cars that are like that, but it's a question, a comment we get often, and you're right in the middle.
You know, to me, it seems like the most normal place to be.
Yeah,
sitting
especially
in the middle of a vehicle.
Especially
'Cause
usually
when
you're the only
here-
occupant. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest fear to me is when I'm in a big vehicle is the kid on a bicycle right there.
Yeah.
You know, whereas here I'm right in the center. I can position myself right in front of the vehicle in front of me, right back into the vehicle in front of me, rather.
Yeah, and that's where, by giving you all this visibility,
Yeah, no, it's really something.
including the downward and rearward cameras, I mean, you would see a pedestrian or somebody
Right.
in an urban environment like that. So we really wanted to, make the truck safer, not just for the driver, but for everybody else on the
Right.
road too.
What is amazing to me about the recurring theme of safety in this video is that Dan is an engineer. He's not a marketing rep or a sales rep or a PR manager. He's just an engineer who keeps talking about safety. So it's no wonder that the Model Y is the safest car ever tested. I mean, keeping people safe seems to be one of Tesla's absolute first virtues at the company.
Well, Dan, this has all been very exciting. It's so funny to be at the cutting edge. You know, 100 and some odd years ago, it was steam, gas, and electric, and one of those is going to win in. And in around 1967, each one actually had 30% of the market.
Yeah.
Electricity got killed because nobody had electricity at home. You couldn't charge anything. You know, it took them 100 years to turn the situation around. I mean, steam was the original one, and then the internal combustion, and now electric. So it's funny to see how three of the oldest keep changing position all the time.
Yeah, and we're really firm believers that all terrestrial transport will go electric,
Right.
and semi is going to be a big part of that. And we really see a huge opportunity to make this a revolutionary product in the trucking industry, and really show the world that electric can be very capable and haul all the goods that we need to.
So what is the Tesla Semi opportunity? Well, if Tesla can scale production to 50,000 semis per year and the average selling price is $180,000, and don't forget that they're going to have the $45,000 electric truck tax credit. So let's assume that Tesla can accrue a 20% margin on those vehicles. That would be a $36,000 profit. If you multiply that by 50,000 units per year, that's about $1.8 billion in profit. But the fleet is going to drive more earnings because companies like Pepsi will want mega packs, which is a $1.24 million product with 18% margins. And they're going to want those mega packs so that they can reliably charge their fleet at headquarters, because the semi drivers finish their shift, they come home, and the semi charges overnight, and it charges reliably. You're not relying on the grid. You're relying on your mega packs that you have in-house, because you need your trucks to be charged when you need them. It has to be reliable. So not only will Tesla bring in that revenue from mega packs, but also as the fleet grows, volume production, Tesla gets more real-world video data from the Tesla semi fleet, and the full self-driving within the semi trucks gets better. And now you start making money from full self-driving subscriptions on Tesla semis, because operators can save money on labor. So it's a massive opportunity, and I have absolutely no doubt that Tesla will sell every semi that they make with no advertising spend. I hope you guys enjoyed this longer video style, and actually on Wednesday I'm going to be doing my first podcast style interview with Hans Nelson, so make sure that you're subscribed so that you catch that, and good day everyone.